Number 25 on our Cache Valley Media Group's list of the top 25 Aggies is John Gentry. The junior running back wears number 2. He is from Houston, Texas, 5'10", and 195 pounds. Has played in his Aggie career 18 games and rushed for 268 total yards. Had a 41-yard run against Boise State last year and had 57 yards rushing in that game. He was a 3-star recruit, 52nd best high school running back in the nation as he was recruited to Utah State. His dad played football at Santa Clara University. Number 25 on the list is John Gentry, the Aggie running back.
So John Gentry, did that surprise you to see him in the top 25 and at his current position?
Not too much. I didn't include him on my voting list, but I nearly put him at 25. Like, that's about where I was thinking of putting him. So it doesn't surprise me at all that he makes it here. He's a projected backup running back, could have a solid role this season. So not surprising that he makes it. And with 25, you're looking at most of the starters, and you get into kind of the too deep at some positions.
For me, the reason why I see John Gentry is in that top 25 field is with the departure of Hillelion Noah. He is likely to play a larger role. He had some big games for Utah State last year. Some games where we didn't see much of him, but this is that year for him to take that next step. He'll be a junior in the program. He had a couple of games that he had some big plays. As Al Lewis mentioned there, of course, thanks to him for helping us produce this, but a big game in the opener at Washington State, 47 rushing yards there, 57 yards against Boise State, and has shown the ability, not a lot, but has shown the ability that he can catch the ball out of the backfield. So he has that opportunity to be a versatile back to help Utah State.
Yeah, we've seen him in a couple of moments be an impact guy. For instance, in that Boise State game, most of those 57 yards came on pretty much one drive. He had, I think, 53 of those 57 came on one drive that ended in Utah State's only field goal, their only points of that game. A lot of that was in a 41-yard rush, which was, the bulk of that drive. But he had several other solid runs in that drive as well. And in the Washington State game, he had a couple of impact drives. We had like 17 rushing yards, 10 receiving yards on one drive, set up a field goal, had 26 rushing yards on one of Utah State's late touchdown drives. So he's had moments. He was the third running back, so he didn't get too many opportunities. But on a few of the opportunities he had, like at least 3, he was a good running back and helped push drives, converting first downs, and doing the things the Utah State needs from a running back.
This is a guy who most of the time that he has seen action for Utah State is mostly between the 40s, so he's more of a middle-of-the-field back, but he has that ability to spread things out a little bit more. And I think that for me it's mostly because of the absence of Hillelion Noah and just seeing him take that next step, seeing what he did in the spring and what his potential is, justifies having him in the top 25.
Yeah, I think he could really step up and have, Calvin Tyler Jr. is expected to be, kind of the number 1 guy, but, you definitely need a good number 2 guy. Especially in college, you can really have that 1-2 punch, and it can be an extremely valuable thing to have. There's room to have 2 really good running backs on a college team. And so Gentry is going to get that chance to prove himself.
Right, and he may not be the de facto number 2 backup running back.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be competition there. But I think because of his experience and kind of how he's developed, I think he's probably in front of others for that role. But I think it's going to be really interesting to see that running back competition play out in the fall.
Yeah, see, the fact that he's not like the considered number 2 back, and there's been comments from coaches and things like that, and in different previews, guys who have already talked to them, they say, behind Tyler, it's like we're not 100% sure who's the number 2 guy, and they might do it by committee. That's kind of why I didn't put Gentry at 25 on my list. I didn't want to include him because I'm not sure he's actually the number 2 guy right now. Could be, and could play a big role. So we'll see.